especially for the African community in England or the African community in Amsterdam, you know, because there's been a lot of migration of people from the continent to Europe in the last 20 years, and there's a generation of children growing up now that will, because their parents don't know, it's just not in the radar. It's just not in the radar. I mean, years ago there used to be more Rastafari. Actually used to be more visible. You used to see more Rastafari on the streets. I don't know why. Has everyone now gone back to Jamaica or gone back to? Are they now in Shishimane, or are they now gone back to Africa? That you don't see many Rastafari. So there'll be young people that actually don't even really, they're not confronted with Rastafari.
Well, you know,
that's just my impression. I might be wrong. It's anecdotal evidence.
I think, well, yeah, I mean, I would say a lot of things about what you're saying, but let's start from the ending and go back to the beginning, right? So youths love Rastafari. You know, I do a lot of speeches in universities, you know, colleges, you know, community center. Different people ask. I can remember even doing one for a youth like a youth hubs where a lot of youths go to. They invited me as one of the Rastafari leaders, or one of the faith leaders.
Yes.
You know, as usual. You know, because I play that role. You know, leadership in the Rastafari liberty and faith. You know, so I will represent Rastafari. You know, because obviously that's where we are missing.
Yes.
And I obviously will stand to help out to do whatever I do, because I work for Rastafari. I'm a Rastafari ambassador, so I will do the works. So what I'm saying is, you know, as an example, I always remember this. You know, as soon as I put my flag down and my books them, all the youths come over to my table. Obviously the first because they do Rasta still smoke weed and this and that, but they love Rastafari.
Fantastic.
The music, they're asking questions, you know.
Yes.
And I will talk to them, but they're very they relate to us a lot more than other faiths. And even troubled youths, from good youths to troubled youths, they still hear the Rasta. You know, youths even hide their gun if they see Rasta coming. We have influence on the street. Wow. In the day-to-day, people, they would look like, if there was to be, they identify with us. And if there was to be, like, say, any religion or faith, they would choose Rasta.
That's amazing.
Mean, that do make us get some of the roughs at the initial, you know, because Rasta used to have a saying that if your mother and father forsake you, Rasta will take you.
Okay.
So, you know, we get some of the roughest people, you know, throughout history. And even some of the roughest people are identified with our liberty, you know.
Yes.
And young people especially, they like our music.
Yes.
They love our Sizzla, Capleton, some of the, you know.
What's that, Sizzla?
Sizzla, some leading, these are some leading reggae artists right now and singers.
I want to know Chronic.
Yeah, Chronic stuff. That's Chronic is a young fire. And obviously, you know, he's creating a very good energy, but a lot of them out there are creating a good energy where the youth them are connected, because reggae music is in the dance hall too, you know. So even many people are relate to it. Africans, same people who love Afrobeats, love bashment and reggae Rasta thing, right? And remember, reggae is created by Rastafari people, you understand? In around that same era, because we want to create our own vibes, and non-colonized vibes, and natural inspired vibes, intuitive within our own mind. You understand?
Yes.
Because we started by one of the main things is to reject everything that they say. Because we know that you can't mean us no good when you've just had us at war and slavery. And nothing you tell us can be good, so we reject that and start building our own. And then we build a little bit, we can come and meet you back now. You know? Where we have some economics and some kind of plan set up in our own realm without your interference. And then we learn to work with the former colonizers if they can adhere to the universal human rights, you know, and the charters set forth by the UN and the African Union, which is originally the Organization of African Unity, formed by His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, assisted by Kwame Nkrumah. You see, now the king, really the first thing in Rastafari is Haile Selassie, is the Almighty. Now, Haile Selassie is the liberator of Africa. You know, when he was crowned as King of Kings, all of Africa was under slavery. You know, and he worked to make sure that all of Africa liberated. You know, he's an international statesman. Where we go, he built a school. You know, on 13 honorary law degrees, 13 languages. He's a scholar. You know, he look into things deep. And his message were for all the Africans, especially who travel to the West and gain certain amount of education. You understand? Because he knows that we are going to bring the change forward onto Africa. We are going to bring what Africa needs for its development. So Haile Selassie is one of the main things. Now if you go back to what you were saying in the beginning, like, yes, I mean, you know, you mentioned Rabbi Shillam, Dr. Rabbi Shillam. You know, he used to work for I in the RasTafari Global Council. A very, you know, genius young man. You know, and we give thanks. Yeah, the thing is, I've had a lot of experience on the ground, you know, standing for Rastafari rights. And I heard you mention, like, now in the prisons that certain things have changed. You know, I was invited to be as part of that change. You know, to guide the government through that change.
What platform was this?
RasTafari Global Council and RasTafari Council of Britain. I'm the founder.
Okay, and then who did you work with in the government? Was this with the?
Well, the head of the prison service.
Okay.
I keep forgetting his name.
No, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I just needed to know you worked
with
in prison.
Even the day we had a meeting with them, because we had to actually you know, step in on the negotiations, because I'll give you some Rasta history quickly if you want.
Please,
you know,
please.
Well, the Rastafari Heritage from Birmingham was working with the prisons to set up to give the prison guidelines on how they should sort out Rastafari. When I realized that from the Council of Britain, we are the Council of Britain, so I would always deal with these kind of issues better than a heritage organization.
Yes.
So obviously, and I know the people who run that organization well as well. So I just contact them and let them know, look, I will take over this now, because obviously we're fully aware how to do this, and we have the scholars there, people like you just mentioned, Robbie and Tony Tafari, myself, and others that we work with closely in order to get Rastafari job done properly. You know. And I'm very sensitive about these things, so we took it over, we met with them, and you know, yeah, everything was going good, but you know, there's a point where, you know, the heritage organization, they went back to working with the heritage organization to complete the task. And I can tell you the reason why, because, you know, I have a history still. I'm a man who's been to prison already, right? And I win my human rights, yeah, and that was the first time someone ever directly told me that Rastafari is not a recognized religion, right? So, but what I have to say is, I want my chance to chant on my Sabbath. It's very serious to me. They don't facilitate for Rastafari in prison at that time. Understand? In any way, shape or form. So it took me a little while, but I won the case to come out every Friday.
You had a law case?
Yeah, I just win it in
okay, so I can check that. I'll use that in my research.
I have the documents I can show you.
Okay.
It's an internal complaints procedure then.
Okay.
It didn't reach
it didn't go far.
It didn't go to
the court. But you still...
They settled it, yeah.
Okay.
I can give you a copy of
Thank you, that'll be very useful, and I'll use it in my research to actually say, well, this is you contributed in some way, initiating that that dialogue for you to have access to practice your religion within the prison institution.
Well, I would rather the way how I done it. I'm the only man in history, only being in history who has come out of jail, released on a Friday from 12 o'clock to come back 12 o'clock in the night to go out and.
So you were given permission to leave, to go and chant,
yes,
and then come back.
Yes,
that's amazing. So this definitely is going to be in my thesis.
Yeah, people did laugh after me when they thought when they realized I was fighting to come out to pray. and to chant.
Yes.
But obviously, your rights is your rights, and I'm serious about this. You know, I'm in a place where, you know, every other religion gets dealt, have the access to what they need. Yeah. But Rastafari don't. It's quite a serious issue. You know, and obviously they were able to see it before it went, you know, before it went to court. Obviously, at first they was like, no. But you know, your rights is your rights. And so obviously, I'll bring all of that energy into my 2012 negotiation with them. So many years after, you know, because you know, the incident I'm telling you about is like 2001ish, right? And now back in 2012, now I'm an ambassador dealing with Rastafari issues with the prison service, where they're considering getting chaplains into prison. But I know Rastafari. No Rastafari priest wants to go into a prison.
Okay.
Yes? You can't. We don't want to go into a prison. We want to come out of the prison. Because Rastafari break every chain. You understand? So the Lion of Judah break every chain.
Right.
Yeah? You're a Rastafari. Yeah. Why would you want to go in? So they messed up there by making the Heritage Organization continue in the negotiation, and now Rastafari priest is allowed into prison. Some might celebrate that, but I and I personally, I feel it should be the opposite way, the way I and I was negotiating it.
So what you're saying is the authorities did not really understand the whole concept, because the way you just explain it to me, that a Rastafari would not want to break the chain, would not want to be going into that institution.
Well, I'm explaining that to you. That wasn't explained to them. You understand?
It wasn't but even if it wasn't explained to them, I'm not sure if they would understand, or even definitely understand.
Well, I didn't.
That thinking of, because I understand now. I understand, but I'm not in authority. I don't have to make any decision. I can understand the sentiment and the sensibility that the Rastafari would not want to go in. But I'm not sure if they would understand. They would understand that. But that's just by and by. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, our faith is our faith. Our liberty is our liberty, and it is very, very real to us.
Yes.
So, but what it is, if you're not fully strong in your stand for what it really is to the core. You can get swayed. Like, for example, when I was being okayed to come out of the jail, you know what they said to me? They said to me, all right, just for paperwork purposes, can we put you down as Ethiopian Orthodox? It would just be easier.
Yes.
I just went, no, I am a Rastafari. That's it. You see?
Yes.
Because, so, you know, when people negotiate with you, I mean, it's good that the West, you know, the prison can negotiate that. Look, it doesn't, we don't really want to facilitate this, and we don't really want to facilitate that. And the negotiator who is negotiating on behalf of Rastafari have to be wise enough and smart enough, and he have that understanding from the ancients in order to negotiate what Rastafari really want, and not just something that like a half a victory or a three-quarter victory.
I understand,
which probably even compromise the fate.
I think so. And now I like how you've said that, because I was thinking from the authority point of view, but actually, if you do want, they're not going to get a better understanding if you kind of compromise, because you compromise just for a short-term thing, or else I think what would be required there is for them to have an overstanding of the nuances and complications, complexities that they're dealing with, not trying to just put everything in a box. So it's very easy for them to just put it in a box and say, okay, we tick that box. But else there's so many strands, which requires a different way of thinking and to really grasp which is on another level. It seemed like it was a missed opportunity, actually. I'm now getting it, but I had to. You have to take time to think.
Yes.
Because most what's the word?